Okay. Good morning, everybody. Today is the 3rd of April, Wednesday morning. And we are here to discuss. We're going to have a brief 30-minute session today. A lot of things going on, so let's just go through a few things. The market's about to open in roughly 10 seconds. And we will just go through some important names that we've been discussing recently and just follow through. All right, so the market is up and ready to go. And take a quick look. So whoever is watching, we have a few ideas out there. The market is opening up again on a positive note today. And Dow is at 5, breaking out, and looks like we will continue to see the Dow challenge the last resistance level that we're looking at, which is roughly about, there's the composite. Composite looks good. There's a resistance of about 80.50, 80.53. That's what we're looking for. On the Dow Jones, we're breaking out and confirming here, so we are probably looking at the all-time high as its next major resistance. And with the S&P, it's about the same. So we're probably looking at the next 4 days to try to challenge that, looking at the S&P to follow through and finish the 9, give or take. And let's take a quick look at some names that we've been watching. SVMK. This is already on our day 8. So we've been discussing over the last couple of days that you're within 2% of that 18.5 resistance level, our first price target. It's good to take some profits on at least a portion of your position. So that's what helps FOMO. I know a lot of people have a problem with the fear of missing out, but you're not really missing out on a quarter, on 50 cents, especially if you're only selling half. That's the reason why you sell a portion of it, or quarter, a third, so that you can still take advantage of a nice move from 15.5 roughly to 18 and a little bit less than 18.5, 18 and a quarter. That's 15, 18%, and just taking a bit off of the table where you can let the rest of your position run. You don't want to be greedy, and that's the other part. So now, as we can see here, Upwork did a little bit of counter rally, as we can see, and so you take profits right away when you have it. You want to take profits when you can, not when you, or at least get out when you can, not when you have to. That's one of the important lessons of trading and investing. So we'll have a half an hour session today, make it a little bit short, and some of these other names that we talked about yesterday. Huya, that was a nice little dip, which is good, giving us an opportunity. The hourly supported right around this level, which is the most recent level, which is a little bit of a gap here. So anything around there could give us support. SPX is another name that I'm starting to really like a lot. The weekly looks like it could have finished the sell setup here. Now you can have what looks to be a countdown, which is 113, and getting above the 10-day moving average is very good. and definitely something to look out for. This TGTX, it came right back down close to our support level, which again we like. I mean, you can adjust it to here. That's basically what it is. It looks very strong. This is looking like it's ready to go. So if you guys are looking for short-term ideas, this one I like a lot. And it looks like on the hourly you have the 913, which is finished here, and now it looks like we're gonna have 9 hours worth of 9 bars an hourly time frame. And you could probably try to get $9.50, at least 9.25 from here. And ending around here is a nice, decent pickup on a pullback. So especially with an oversold level here, and as you can see that the MACD was turning, so that would have been a good pickup. We've been discussing that over the last few days. Right, so that looks good. Blink, I mean, these all kind of look the same. This is a bit more of a range bound AQMS. Very similar, getting back to the support level. Let's see how it's developing on a 5 minutes. Definitely getting tighter. The band's getting tighter, as you can see. That buyers are still continuing to pick it up at this level, and sellers are continuing to sell it every time it hits a bit of a counter rally. So eventually either the buyers go away or the sellers go away. So we'll see how this one finishes up. Blink. And Solo. So all look very similar in a way that they're consolidating at the 200-day moving average. Daily, the hourly. It looks like we discussed this yesterday. 1375. And then you can look for 402 as a first resistance. And this is the buy, and this is this sell stop to give yourself a quick trade if you're looking for that. Sarepta looks good. NR looks good. Some news today. Lennar could be looking for some support at the 200, and as the 50-day moving average goes underneath it and goes above it, and so we can have a nice pattern here setting up. Let's look at a couple of names that are popular at this point. Lyft still selling off. Yesterday there was an article from CNBC that Lyft went into bear market, which is pretty funny. Can't really say the bear market's just started, so I'm still looking for price discovery. A lot of these IPOs are looking for price discovery first time out. So, and as you can see that this Levi's now is on a 5 count on a daily. 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is the start of, this is basically the one because it went close higher than the bar 4 days ago. 1, 2, 3, 4, the close here. So that's why this is the 1 and 2, even though it's not showing because it's new, close higher than this close, and so on and so forth. This 3 is higher than 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 is higher than 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 is higher than the bar number 1, which is this one so far. So as long as it closes above this close, you'll maintain that count. But from an hourly standpoint, after creating the first sell setup, now it's getting followed by a countdown. The important price here is that this number 1, this bar 1, even though it was, it broke it, it never closed below it. and more importantly, no confirmation. So, and then it started another count, which is good. So you can pretty much say, from if you're looking to trade this or swing trade it, that this could be a good support area. And at least the high we're looking for is 24 and change. So it's still not too big of a range, but it can continue to go if the bulls decide that it is a good name to long. This is one of my fundamentally sound favorites, but recent earnings were disappointing, so that kind of resets a little bit. And this happened a few times in this name in the past, so you got to keep an eye out on that. Longer term, I like the name. It's just a question of what's a good entry. Fundamentally, they're a growing company with a good brand, so that's always good for some of these long-term companies, long-term stocks, long-term investments. Lennar is benefiting obviously from the Fed not raising rates for the year, and so we'll just keep an eye out on them. So they'll turn negative. See how it's reacting. So there is a bit of a resistance here, as you can see. This point's right around $3.94, $4. There's definitely sellers that's coming in. All right. HYRE. I like this name. Chart looks fairly intact. There are some worries, but so far, just going back to, these are some support levels, but from a timing perspective, we want to see if these sellers, see, it never really closed below the high of this sell setup. I'm sorry, this buy setup, and it never followed through. So that still looks intact, and this support level seems to be holding fairly well, and that could be a good springboard place too. And again, the only problem I see here is that it happens in some IPOs, recent IPOs, where they overshoot above their IPO price and then come down and never recover. It's happened with BEST. I can go on a few names. This is where it went above, even though it was never really confirmed. So that's the only difference. And before it rolled over. But also, we have recently spoke about Upwork, same deal, where it crossed above the IPO price, confirmed, even though it's a weak confirm, it was still negative, and then earnings really just got the wind out of the sails of that one. So even though it's continued to roll over here, it had found some support, but never did. But this is never clean, not as clean as HYRE. So there's a little bit of a difference. SVMK was something that we started all the way back when it first IPO'd. See, after this setup was negated by these buyers, as you can see, the stock just really ran in a short period of time. So there's some divergence in some names, but as you can see, it really depends on how they close above the previous high. And that's usually a telltale sign. So TGTX is running, and after finding some good support above 790, good volume. So we've been talking about this for the last few days. If you guys been watching, or at least look at the replay, hopefully you guys found some actionable information from our videos, and we'll continue to share a goal of bringing a community of using these tools, because it is unique. These tools are pretty much based on what's called the mark indicators, but this is a tool that's been developed, or at least put together by Thinkorswim, that mimics the mark indicators. So there's some very interesting name, Etsy, that we'll be talking about recently as well. On a third day after it broke out. So if you get a pullback out of this, it will be a gift, in my opinion. But it doesn't seem, so far it looks strong, so I'd probably rather buy a breakout rather than wait for a pullback. SVMK, it's trying to fulfill the 8. Finish that setup. And Solo is now coming down. I'm looking at support here. See if that holds. So as you can see, this shouldn't really scare you unless it completely reverses the bar 4 days ago. 1, 2, 3, 4. Below that is when it goes, when this next setup cancels out. So I wouldn't be worried about that yet. If you're trading this on a daily, you probably would have gotten stopped out already. But that's, again, that's just a numbers game. We have this ultimate hard stop here, which still hasn't penetrated. So that's something I would watch out for. Anything on a closing basis here, obviously, or just to penetrate below this level intraday, 345, let's say. Seems like there was a big sell that came in here. Probably one of these people right here. Let's look at the VIX. All right, so the VIX is coming down and showing a little bit more of a, or trading a little bit more parity with now with the indices. Still hasn't made a new low yet, but it didn't hold this shoulder either. But you can kind of have a little bit of a tail off. So unless it doesn't break, that's really the main point. Channel here, so it's still within a channel. Could be an skewed head and shoulder. So as long as it doesn't break this, it doesn't totally break the inverse head and shoulder. So that's one. So the market is dynamic and it changes constantly. That's one thing you can count on, and that's why you have to be, in my opinion, as dynamic as the market. Tesla, something we talked about. Did find support 255. Now it looks like it's starting to make its way back to the upper trend line. It's also, let's look at some of these Bitcoin stocks. The Bitcoin ETF, it's getting a follow through. So let's look at Riot. Again, I don't like these names. I feel like there's better opportunities out there, but this could be a trade. But again, there's better names out there I'd rather focus on. It's important to put stop loss orders when you're wrong to limit your downside. So you can see, try to break through, but this is when the market rolled over. So made a new high, broke through this sell setup, and looking for a bigger breakout. But again, the market turned, and you just have to protect yourself. Having a lot of losers is normal. The point is you want to have a lot of winners as well, and bigger winners. So don't be afraid of having losers. If you're afraid of having losers, then you shouldn't be trading in the market. You have to learn how to manage them and control your emotions when you do have them. I know of traders that have more losers than winners, but their winners are a lot bigger than their losers, and they make a tremendous amount of money. So there's a lot of ways to skin a cat. There's a lot of ways to make money in the market, but having a solid risk management plan is key. All right, so let's take a quick run back. Square, interesting. So it should finish at 13 shortly, and once that countdown is done, we can look for the next sell setup to establish. Let's see, continues to look good. Anything above this $70 and changes, even this one would be. There's two places to buy it. You can buy it at the not a few places to buy it, in my opinion. 9, you buy it at the 9 after it finishes. Okay, stop loss anything on this level. The 1 is a little bit more conservative, and if this is not too far away and you have a breakout above the 1 of the previous sell setup, is also a third great opportunity for entry. So if you guys are paying attention, I'm giving you some of the rules and techniques of how to use this tool so far, and how I've used it. Look, this counter rallying a bit here. Anyone wants to day trade or swing trade it? This can get out of its own way above, I would say. Just on a price, just reading the price above 72 could reverse this a bit and probably get back to 77, 78 to close the gap, and ultimately 81. So that's still a good possibility once it gets above this level right here. That's more technical analysis and just getting a bit of a base, and the count will follow it. There we go. Casey Communications. V-cell. Get set up again. All right. Upwork is counter rallying. So from an hourly standpoint, we could see a lot of resistance right around 20 bucks. So volume really hasn't been that impressive. So I wouldn't be worried about that. See, these are small volume. Maybe opportunities to fade it for some people. SVMK still continue to find its way back up. So there's some support levels around here. CGC count over here reset after based out. It should have been the 9 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, but it closed above this close for that one. So this 1 should have been a 9 if it went underneath 42, and 42.89 is a close, but it didn't yesterday. So now I counted as a 1. So that's a good sign. TLRY, that's finished its count, and now it's still waiting to just break above this, and I think this could go as well. There's other pot stocks that does look a bit more constructive. Hexo I like very much on there, and another stock, ECB. This one looking, that still looks constructive. I like these stock as well. So these are a nice watch list for us. Some long-term ones, some short-term ones. All right, so we have 1 more minute. And whoever's watching, thank you for watching. You guys are watching the replay. Thanks again for spending some time with us. and give us a shout, email us, let us know questions, thoughts, ideas, and we'll be more than happy to get back to you as soon as we can, as soon as I can as well. All right, that is it for now, folks. It is roughly 10 a.m. in New York, Wednesday morning, and we'll see you again tomorrow for some more market analysis and some more names that we'll go through. And again, whenever you get a chance, reach out to us and give you some insights. All right. That is it. Have a good one and talk to you tomorrow.